Hello YouTube, this is gonna be my master class, my how to sharpen, my professional tips, all I know about sharpening in one video. Let's start with a knife. You don't need to worry about what is what, you need to know two things. Where's the sharp end, where's the spine, where's the non-edge, and where's the edge. Basically that's it. The edge or apex is this part. It's sharp, so I don't want to cut myself. When I talk about sharpening the edge, it's only the part that doing the cutting. When I'm talking about behind the edge, it's literally the entire part behind there. Some call it the sharpening face, primary face, on some knives a shinogi or blade line, etc, etc. Don't give a crap about all these terms. Know that if you're sharpening the edge, you are sharpening what's doing the cutting. If anything behind that is being touched, you're thinning and making the knife thinner. That's all you need to know. This is already pretty thin, but imagine if you're sharpening the cutting, if you're sharpening behind, you're removing steel up here, it's making it thinner. 2000 grit Autoshi. Let's install this. It basically rips the paper, and when it rips it starts, but I'm comfortable enough to do this on camera with my 3 fingers. It's done. I'm gonna start on 1000. If you have a quartzer stone, start on a quartzer stone. First I'm gonna show you thinning. That's behind the edge, not the sharpening part. Starting on an Anua Pro 1000. Thank you, Magnus, for this. Always make sure your stone is flat, especially when doing anything behind the edge. And yes, Magnus, I see your stone is a little thirsty. Again, if doing anything behind the edge, make sure the stone is flat. This I've used a couple of times, so this isn't flat, and I'm gonna show you how that looks. I'm using a Toma 40. This happens in 99.999999 times. It's being used more here and less here. So that's the high spots and that's the low spots. And you need to remove until all of the pencil is gone. And people know you're not wasting or hurting the stone here. Just to ensure it's flat, you're removing not even a tenth of a millimeter each time you're doing this. It's basically a tiny bit left. It's basically maybe 1/20th to 1/10th of a millimeter each time you flatten. But I'm gonna thin and show you how to do that. So there I have a completely flat stone. Then I round off the edge. Also hugely important. You don't want the edge gouging your stone, no, your edge when sharpening. And there, this is called stone prep or stone maintenance, etc, etc. Keep it flat and keep the corners rounded. Now we're ready to sharpen after 5 minutes of my bullshit. So first, how do you hold it? I like to pinch it and hold like this. Some hold it like this, some hold it like that. Just hold it secure. Don't be stupid and hold it out here. Hold it close to the blade. You can do just this, but I like this when doing this side. When I switch, I flip my thumb, point out, flip my thumb, pointer finger, thumb, pointer finger, thumb. And again, I'm gonna find this is helpful in the start. Just something so you can have a visual aid. I don't care if I remove it, but this is thinning behind here. That's not the cutting part. That's not the cutting part. This is the cutting part, the edge. So I'm gonna mark that. And you're gonna see when I sharpen behind, and you're gonna see when I sharpen the edge. Oops. And I showed you that I done it. So, crap. I lost my marking. Just gonna clean that up. A little point I made with my there. So, angles. Imagine 90 straight up and down. If you're halving that, you're around 45. If you half that, you're around 22-ish and a half. If you half that, you're around 11-ish, something. In the start, around the finger is nearly always 15-18 degrees if you don't have really thick or thin fingers. But around the pointer finger under the spine is good for 99% of knives. That's the edge. Behind the edge is anything under that. So as I said, at the edge, if I do pointer finger, this is probably lower because I sharpened this really low, but let's see. And you see, I've removed at the edge. Forget this part, I didn't sharpen that. But can you see, I've removed at the edge. Anything lower than that, again, lower than that, and I will start going behind the edge where the Sharpie is. And I'm not using any real pressure here, just the weight and like 40-50 grams. Like the weight of a Coke can on top, that's all. This is just keeping the angle. It's not flat, the spine is a tiny, this is flat, I'm here. Like a tiny degree, 1-2 degrees up from flat. This is keeping the angle, this is pulling, pushing, pulling, pushing. And don't let it dry up. If it sticks, this can happen and you will hurt yourself. Again, this, pull, no, sorry, push, pull, push, pull. This just keeps everything in motion. And let's see what we have done with the Sharpie. Of course, I didn't sharpen the edge here, but now you see I've thinned it. I removed the Sharpie. Again, I'm just going to the edge and bow the angles. And this isn't the same as creating a burr, but it's knowing you are at the right angle. So the same, the other part, if I do a finger, and see here I like to use my pointer finger. Again, we've removed the Sharpie at the edge. If I'm behind that way lower, sorry, my glasses went down, and I'm thinning and removing Sharpie behind the edge. You can even hear the sound is different. Can you hear how much more mellow and lower pitched this sound is? This is my new demonstration knife, since many have experience with Victorinox. This is on, how do I say, uneven and wonky, because I've let people practice with this, so if it's a little Sharpie here and there, it really doesn't matter. But you see, I removed the Sharpie. It got a low spot in the grind here, which I'm not reaching, and one there, which I'm not reaching. Doesn't really care about that. Now I'm gonna sharpen the edge until I reach what's known as a burr. The burr or wire edge should feel like if you shave and the next day you run your hand across your chin like the tiny bit of stubble. Again, one finger. This may have a higher micro bevel, I can't remember. So this may take some while because I removed the edge that bevel is. But let's keep at it. And keep the same angle, the same pressure, the same everything, and spend as much time on the entire length. You can section it up like I'm doing here, moving your fingers part, or you can do big strokes like this. Doesn't matter. You can do like this. Doesn't matter. You can section, stop, section, stop, section, stop, section, stop. Doesn't matter. As long as you're sharpening as much over the entire edge. The burr never feel this way. Feel down. Got a tiny burr there, but not the rest. So spending a little more time just to make sure the burr is at the start. The burr will be pretty big because you will not be able to detect a very little burr. Also, sometimes flipping the stone, you wear the stone over the entire part is smart. Now I like to do some of this just to know the edge gets more uniform. Then I got the burr. It feels like maybe touching a sponge or a fine steel wool. Something that barely scratches your finger. I sharpen this side, then the burr is always on the other side. If you sharpen this side, it always is on the other side. And I can feel it. I don't know if you can hear it. And the other is smooth. Burr is here. And then I just do the same exact thing on the other side. Same thing around the finger. The burr may flip straight away here and make what's called a false burr. So you think you have a burr, and then moving to a finer stone, it sheds away and you don't have it because you haven't spent enough time on this So try to make some, not necessarily count, but some image of time. So you spend as much time on both sides, because you want the edge to be somewhat 50-50. Yes, some knives, especially Japanese, are asymmetrical, like 70-30, 90-10. That means they have different edge angle bevels and different time you spend or deburr, etc. Don't care about that in the start, because most knives is 50-50. Even the Japanese are switching more and more to that. With good reason. It's easier. It doesn't stare in produce. With staring, I mean when you cut it likes to go either way. And I have a burr. Now, the trick is get good on your coarse stone. This isn't really coarse. This is 1000, but lighten the pressure to kissing the stone. Now I like to do the entire edge, just kissing the stone. If you have a 300, it should be sharp of a 300. If you have a 600, it should be sharp of that. It should always be sharp of the stone you're starting, even if it's a 220. Clean it up, you see. And then I just do this. Basically not stropping, but dragging it. In the start, go very slow this. Very slow. This will catch anywhere. And after a while you do like this, and you don't cut yourself, because I've done this millions of times probably. I've done this for over 20 years. And I like to check on paper. This is little thicker plastic cardboardish. And very slow. If I feel anything catch, rip, or stop, or feel different, I stop. That feels very good. Then I know the edge is there. It's pretty decent. It's more than good enough to get food. Then I take the stone, rinse it good off, dry it off, yes, with something, and then let it air dry at least an hour before putting it back. Best is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. This was actually a little bit longer than the one after all. Now Toshi. This, according to the grit rating, is a 2 grit, 2000 grit I mean. It isn't. It's much more like a 4K. So this is a stone that takes a little skill to use. I know it's flat, but yeah, I can show you or no, I mean I know it's not flat. That's why I'm flattening again. Drawing on it just so I have some reference. And I was supposed to know, I know it isn't flat because I used it. Again, sorry, over the sink. Put it on your plate. Sorry about that part. And you see the same. The mid part is a tiny bit lower. And just go over until it's flat. And then again, rounding the corner. I do what I can, so I know it's as good as it can be. Now I'm not bothering with Sharpie because I got scratch pattern to go with and I know what I'm doing. But if you want, do the Sharpie again to help you. Again, behind the edge here, basically flat and lifting a degree or two. And with this stone, I'm using 300-400 grams of pressure, like a Coke can. Then when the stone gets going with a little slurry, I really lighten up. You see it's releasing slurry. Just a few drops. Guys, this is how easy it is to sharpen and to tin and to maintain knives. I'm not mentioning the channel, but there's a really famous Asian sharpening version on YouTube that says you basically doesn't need to tin, and he knows people that hasn't tinned their knife in 20 years and blah blah blah. Look, that's absolute bullshit. Sorry to say, but that's a load of bull. You need to tin to maintain the geometry of your knives. It's easy to see that the knife gets thicker and thicker behind the edge. The camera could focus. Focus. Oh, damn the camera. It's get thicker and thicker behind there. Every time you sharpen it moves up, you need to remove metal. It's a given. I'm not bothering giving this a mirror polish. I'm just removing some scratches here. This is a user, and then I'm gonna clean up the edge. But again, you need to tin your knife. So let's say 3-4 sharpenings, you do a tinning. 3-4 sharpenings, you do a tinning. And you can always go thinner and thinner until it starts chipping ever so slightly. What's the clock? And that's how you know the thinness is where it should be. A knife should be as thin as it can be without chipping. So there was some more scratches here, so just getting rid of the worst of them. And then I go to the edge. I don't need a finger underneath, but you can, a finger. And I do the edge. Now I'm using barely any pressure because I know the edge is there. I don't need to crush it or create a new burr. I'm just refining it. You can hear the pitch that's increased because I'm hitting the edge. Same. This is called deburring, weakening, and getting the burr off. And when I say no pressure, I mean no pressure. that's done. That's from butter knife dull to very sharp. It can easily shave your hands, your legs, etc. So that's thinning, that's sharpening in 25 minutes. Again, this is thicker like cardboard plastic. Not a problem. Some like strobes, I don't. Leather, etc. Slick and stage 2 for me. I like a little bite, so I use a denim bands, just like it. If I feel it grab, I know it's burr at the edge. Look guys, I've done this so many 100 times, 1,000 times. I can do this without cutting myself. And no, I'm not, what's the word? Cut proof. I'm just experienced with doing the same shit over and over and over again. This is freestanding magazine paper. Really thin stuff, and it's slightly wet. Is that in view? Yep. I bend the paper where I start to start. It's often the hardest point. You see, easily does it. More than sharp enough. The tip. Let's try again. This is the more resilient type of paper, which is, I call it plastic paper because that's what it feels like to touch. Slightly crumbled at the end. Let's check for the bite. Bite, 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 bite. I mean, that's more than sharp enough. I'm getting bold here, sharpening, but they're just popping off, guys. I'll show you. It's not a problem to shave it. You could do your lady's legs with this, and she would be happy. Just where did I put the pants? Cleaning up the leg here off. And that's how you do it. That's all you need to know to be a world-class sharpener right there in 30 minutes. Love it if you subscribe, love it if you share the channel, like the video, leave a comment, please talk with me. Love you guys for watching, take care, bye.